Could Washington, D.C. come under new management? President Trump told reporters yesterday that, well, we could run Washington, D.C. We're looking at Washington, D.C. with the crime rising and all of the mismanagement in the city. Congress is talking about reasserting its control over the federal city. Joining me now to discuss this, Congressman Pete Sessions, who serves on the House Oversight and Government Reforms Committee, which has oversight of D.C. He represents the 17th Congressional District of Texas, and he joins us now. Congressman Sessions, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Tony, what a delight. And by the way, before we get too far into it, I found the previous piece very interesting. Probably 10 years ago, when I was chairman of the Rules Committee that I was for 6 years, we had a lot of people that needed education and the opportunity to understand how Congress worked, what all the terms meant, how things moved out. And I created what was called Patriot University. And it was essentially a 4-level game that could be played whereby people would learn about the government, how it worked, what the roles of government was. And I had a young man, Kyle Matus, who was from University of Virginia Law School, and he wrote pretty much the thing, and it was an amazing thing. I think what you're doing is awesome, and I support it fully. Well,
thank you, Congressman. I appreciate that. We're just trying to get people to understand how government was designed to function and what happens when it doesn't. When we don't operate according to the way it was designed, it doesn't work. And that's actually what we see happening in the federal city, is it not?
It is. And in fact, the question you ask is something that has brought about, at least in Texas, an amazing result. As you may recall, Austin, Texas loves to say that they want to be weird. They want to be what they are. But what it turned out to be was not only dangerous, but a city that was taken over by socialists, where criminals would be dealt with based upon the color of their skin. And it became very dangerous. And Governor Abbott noted that, brought in a large number of Texas state troopers who picked up about, I don't know exactly, but about 40 well-known criminals. And all of a sudden, the neighborhood got a little nicer. And all of a sudden, fewer reports of women being assaulted, fewer problems with children being taken advantage of. I think that it's important to note that the people who I think are in Washington, D.C., who are law enforcement and who have other responsibilities would really choose to want to use their skills better to keep the city safe and to do the things that would be required. But the management, meaning the city council, does not want that. And so if we did decide that we would do this, I think it would be overwhelmingly successful, but perhaps more than that, it would give the workers confidence that they had a job that mattered and solved problems. So I think that this is another amazing so to speak, trick that the president has that waiting to do. And I think James Comer, who is our chairman, would see the value of us vetting the idea and making sure that Washington, D.C. would become a model city for the nation as opposed to an embarrassment and a crime model.
But this is not a stretch, because the way the District of Columbia was created, it was created as a federal city where Congress actually has jurisdiction. Now, they have delegated a lot of that to through Home Rule's charter to the District of Columbia, but it doesn't mean they can't take back that authority and operate and maintain the city.
Well, I think you remember last year, about this time, there were a number of high value crimes that were committed, one of them against a Democratic member of Congress. And it was at almost the exact same time when they were going to liberalize what would be the rules and regulations of dealing with criminals. And this woman was beaten up by a person who was not just a criminal, but a person who had repeated instances where they did these things. And it overnight changed the whole volume, where even the Democrats in Congress who were going to side with the D.C. Council and reject Republicans' calls, even they joined in and denounced the crime bill that Washington, D.C. was attempting to move to leniency on, and it made it made the news all over the country.
Yeah, I remember that. Of course, we just recently had a congressional staff, actually an intern at a congressional office was shot and killed here in Washington, D.C. So it is, of course, America is suffering violence all over. It is a symptom of a much deeper issue that we have to deal with, the moral decay of our country. But we have to maintain law and order in order to get to those underlying issues. Congressman Pete Sessions, we're out of time, but it's always great to see you. Thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Tony, thank you. As you know, I only want to do well enough to get invited back, and I hope you were doing well. And thank you for your message to so many people who believe America, one nation under God.
Amen. Thank you so much.